Welcome to Royal Secret. Just when the world thought Queen Mary had settled into a quiet summer escape, Denmark's radiant queen took center stage once again. But this time, not in a palace or a royal court. She stunned at a royal concert, captivating thousands, and leaving royal watchers wondering, was this more than just a glamorous outing? Or was it a statement, bold, deliberate, and dripping with symbolism? Under the fading golden glow of a Scandinavian spring sunset, Queen Mary of Denmark appeared at a high-profile concert in Copenhagen, just days after quietly relocating with King Frederik X to their secluded summer home. Yet this wasn't a routine royal appearance. This was a spectacle, a moment, a declaration. Wearing a flowing gown that merged regal grace with modern flair, Queen Mary walked into the music venue like a sovereign born for the spotlight, undaunted, radiant, and enigmatic. Cameras flashed, audiences froze, and murmurs swept across Europe's royal circles. Why now? Why here? The royal couple had just slipped away from the public eye, retreating to the tranquil privacy of Grasten Palace, their cherished summer residence nestled near the German border. It was the first summer season for King Frederik and Queen Mary as reigning monarchs following Queen Margrethe's surprise abdication earlier this year. Most expected a season of silence, of rest. But instead, Queen Mary stepped right back into Denmark's cultural limelight, with a stunning statement of strength and presence. This concert, hosted by the Royal Danish Academy of Music, wasn't merely a cultural engagement, it was a national moment. And Queen Mary didn't just attend. She owned it. Let's break down what this surprise appearance means, not just for the Danish monarchy, but for the future of Queen Mary's role as Denmark's queen consort, power broker, and unexpected star. The concert that lit up Copenhagen. The concert was no ordinary evening of classical tunes. Held at the DR Concerthuset, Denmark's modern temple of music, it featured some of Scandinavia's most brilliant young performers, many of whom had been mentored by royal arts scholarships personally overseen by Queen Mary. Yet, as the final rehearsal wrapped and guests settled in, whispers began to circulate. "She's coming," murmured one official. "She just arrived," said another. And then, all eyes turned to the grand staircase. Queen Mary, wearing a floor-length navy blue gown embroidered with subtle silver detailing that mimicked the night sky, descended with measured elegance. At her side, not King Frederik, but Crown Prince Christian. A subtle yet significant choice. The Queen's appearance alongside Denmark's future monarch sent a clear signal. This was not just a night of music, it was a performance of power and continuity. Queen Mary is not fading into the background now that Frederik wears the crown. If anything, she's stepping even further into the spotlight. Fashion with a message. Royal watchers wasted no time dissecting the Queen's look. But beyond the elegance, the choice of attire hinted at something deeper. Fashion experts noted that the gown was likely a custom design by Danish-Australian designer Julie Fagerholt, a close friend of Queen Mary's and a frequent royal collaborator. The silver embroidery, resembling constellations, drew comparisons to Queen Margrethe's iconic 1972 star gown worn during her own early reign. Coincidence? Or was Queen Mary subtly referencing her mother-in-law's legacy while establishing her own version of royal glamour? This wasn't just a pretty dress. It was a message, one that said, "I know the weight I carry, and I wear it with pride." A queen at ease, but not at rest. Royal commentators noted something else about the Queen's appearance. She looked relaxed, smiling, and emotionally present in a way we haven't seen in months. For a monarch who has spent recent weeks navigating intense transitions, from her husband's accession to renewed public scrutiny, this was a welcome and revealing shift. One journalist from Bild Bladet remarked, "It felt like we were seeing Mary again. Not just the Queen, but the woman who fell in love with a prince 20 years ago." It was her moment, and it was magic. Observers couldn't help but contrast this radiant concert appearance with the relative silence and tension that followed Queen Margrethe's abdication. Rumors swirled earlier this year about private disagreements, the pressure of sudden change, and the strain of new royal roles. Was Queen Mary ready for the spotlight? Would she retreat behind King Frederik's more seasoned public persona? The concert answered that question, with grace, glamour, and quiet confidence. When the gates of Grasten Palace quietly closed behind them, a new royal chapter began. Yet, even in retreat, Queen Mary wasn't hiding, she was preparing. And now, the world is beginning to see exactly what she's preparing for. While the world obsessed over concert photos and fashion breakdowns, few noticed that the appearance came just days after Queen Mary and King Frederik relocated to one of Denmark's most beloved royal landmarks, Grasten Palace. This move wasn't just seasonal, it was symbolic. Set against a serene landscape of lakes, forests, and centuries of Danish history, Grasten Palace has long been a sanctuary for the royal family. But for Mary and Frederik, it now serves as a royal headquarters of reinvention. This year marks their first summer at Grasten as king and queen. The same palace where Queen Margrethe once painted in solitude, where Prince Henrik held quiet dinners for diplomats, and where young royals like Prince Christian and Princess Isabella spent idyllic childhood summers biking through the woods. But now, it belongs to the new monarchs. And their arrival wasn't just about tradition, it was about power, privacy, and purpose. Insiders suggest this early retreat to Grasten was anything but casual. In fact, it was carefully orchestrated. For Queen Mary, the move offered a tactical pause. Away from the scrutiny of Copenhagen and the weight of royal duty, she could regroup, realign, and focus on her next steps. Unlike her early days in the spotlight as crown princess, where every move was choreographed by palace officials, Mary now has more freedom than ever before. And she's using it to craft her own style of leadership. According to Danish royal expert Lars Hufbach Sorensen, Queen Mary is not just reacting to events, she's controlling the narrative. The move to Grasten allowed her to disappear briefly, only to return at the concert with renewed energy and intention. It's calculated, and it's working. Family first, but always regal. Behind palace walls, life is surprisingly normal, or at least, as normal as it can be for royals. Sources close to the family say that Queen Mary's days at Grasten are split between royal briefings, private family dinners, and walks with the royal dogs through the forest trails that wind around the palace grounds. She's also been spotted horseback riding with Princess Isabella, an activity the two bonded over during their 2022 trip to Greenland. Locals say that the Queen sometimes rides early in the morning, long before most visitors have arrived at the estate gates. But don't mistake calm for complacency. Within Grasten's historic walls, Queen Mary has reportedly begun assembling a tight-knit team of female advisors, focusing on education reform, youth mental health, and women's leadership across the Nordic region. One source described her as quietly building a kingdom within the kingdom. And it makes sense. While King Frederik handles constitutional duties and military affairs, Mary has stepped confidently into the role of cultural and humanitarian queen, a model inspired not just by Queen Margrethe, but by figures like Queen Maxima of the Netherlands and Crown Princess Victoria of Sweden. The public response: a queen reimagined. Danish citizens, once skeptical of the Australian-born queen's place on the throne, are now responding with growing admiration. Social media lit up after the concert with messages like, "She's elegant, fearless, and stronger than ever. Queen Mary is exactly what Denmark needs." Others remarked on her emotional accessibility, how her warm smile at the concert felt genuine, how she took time to speak with young musicians, and how she seemed less like a monarch and more like a modern icon. Still, there are critics. Some believe the concert was too flashy, too soon after the move to Grasten. One conservative commentator wrote, "We hoped for grace and silence. We got a fashion show." But the numbers tell a different story. TV ratings for the concert surged. Royal engagement polls climbed by 11%. And press coverage across Europe, from La Vanguardia to Svenska Dagbladet, called Queen Mary a monarch for the Instagram era. Grasten's ghosts, and the weight of legacy. But the palace holds more than family memories, it holds ghosts of royalty past. Grasten was Queen Ingrid's refuge during World War II. It was Queen Margrethe's sanctuary during political turmoil. And it was where Prince Henrik spent his final summer before his death. For Mary, walking the halls of Grasten isn't just a summer tradition, it's a confrontation with royal legacy. A chance to reflect, a place to decide what kind of queen she truly wants to be. So, when she returned to Copenhagen, dressed not just in couture, but in clarity, it wasn't a surprise to those who understand how Queen Mary operates. She doesn't disappear, she evolves. And with every move, from the stillness of Grasten to the brilliance of the concert stage, Queen Mary is quietly, strategically, and elegantly rewriting what it means to be a modern queen in the heart of Europe. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.